Couple other things you should know about Revit links. Maybe little known tricks about Revit links is if you were desiring at this point to bring this Revit link of the furniture, the equipment, which you'll notice is this object right here. Okay, that's all the equipment that's in that freestanding file. I still need to make all the equipment that's in the architectural file. I would really like to make it and put it into the equipment file, but it needs to be freestanding because right now it's wall mounted. So what a lot of people don't know is if you ever would desire to put this back into your file, it's as easy as right clicking on it. Oh, I'm sorry. It's at the top of the list. It's called bind link. And all I would have to do is hit bind link. I don't even need to bring the details. And at that point, it's going to take that link. You'll notice you get this warning that says this file is approximately 10 meg or larger. That's basically warning you. That's why I made it into a Revit link, is because it was so large. I can answer yes to that, and you'll see it'll have to work pretty hard to do that. Putting those objects into this file. Like I said, it's got to work hard. I'll go ahead and I'll probably clip this part of the animation out if I get the opportunity. Oh, it's not too bad. It's going to give me a warning about matching materials and family names. It's not going to cause you any problem. We can go ahead and say okay to that. That warning is just letting you know it's going to use the materials that are in this file. Instead of, if you had updated the materials in the other file, you would have to clean those materials out of this file first before you did the bind. Hopefully you won't run into that issue. I think my computer's a little bit mad at me. Don't panic. It does have to work pretty hard to do this, so just be patient. But when we're done, all of the furniture, all of the whatever, all of the existing, whatever you would like, would then be in your file. Let's see, is it going to come back? We're getting close now. Some of that equipment that you've used is very, very heavy and has a lot of extraneous data in it. And quite frankly, it doesn't matter. Families add file size. Families, whatever the size of that family is on the disk. So if you had a family that was 1 meg and you put that family into your file, even if you never used that family, it's going to add 1 meg file size approximately. There's a couple other things Revit does, but it's pretty close. One meg that it's going to add to your project. If you put in 50 1 meg pieces of furniture, your file size is going to end up at about 50 meg. However, don't panic thinking that if you put in a chair, one family, and you copy it 100 times, that does not increase your file size, because then it's just tracking the X, Y, and Z location. I was hoping this was gonna go quicker than this. I'll get back to you in a second. Okay, so we will see a few error messages. This message that you're getting here is a lot of the lines that you've drawn, very small lines. It's having a problem joining them. It's telling me right now that there's multiple areas in a region. Because there's some multiple areas you can browse through. You can also hit expand, and then you can go through this list of errors, redundant. You'll see it's a lot of highlighted lines. The idea of drawing in lines, or worse yet, importing from AutoCAD, that's a bad idea and will cause you heartburn. This is part of the reason that I wanted to strip all of this information out of the file. If I would have tried to build this building with all these errors in the file, I would have been in big trouble. So that's part of the reason I split the file apart. But I can just go ahead and solve the ones that I have to by hitting the unjoin elements, because you'll notice the OK was not available. Once it unjoins all these lines, then we'll find that either it's going to be OK or it's going to go ahead straight into the file. This is the big reason that I split these up. You have to really control your file if you're going to be doing a lot of orbiting and a lot of working on your 3D. And when I'm building the building, I have to really do a lot of flipping back and forth between the views. So I learned this the hard way. For big jobs, we're going to have to really be diligent in controlling our file size and controlling how we work with these things. If you just keep building, you're going to get a very big, slow file that's probably going to make you miss a couple deadlines. So you'll see, I'm going to go ahead and pause until it gets done. So now you can see...
wait for my PDF, I got the right size, I didn't see this click button.
There's a couple errors that are coming up about groups, because there was a group in that file that was the same. That's one of the biggest problems that I found in your file, is in that locker room, the array command really put a beating on someone. And what I mean by that was, I know there's a lot of lockers in this room. However, because of the array, there was actually 1,300 lockers in this room, because you had a lot of lockers on top of lockers because of how the grouping works. So that might be something that we want to cover at a later date, just to let you know where the problem was. Now, you will find, if you go to families, so you probably would place your families as a component, and then you would go in here and you would do a load, or I'm sorry, not a load, but you would select your family that you wanted. You will find that there should now be one called a locker row. Okay, so I wrote a hybrid family that basically allows you to, when you pick the locker row, you just simply draw a line where you want those lockers, and it'll put them in for you in a row. It's not an array. It can be flipped if you need to flip it to the other side. It can be re-stretched at a later date. It can be copied. We can even take the calculations from it. It can be scheduled, because I did share the cell, but you'll see it's a little bit higher tech. If I wanted to type in that I knew I needed 20 feet of lockers, you would see it's now giving you 20 feet of lockers. Now, that Revit link that I just brought in, which was the existing equipment, you'll see that's it right there. You'll see that what happened. I'm going to go ahead and use my isolate element to find out that what I've actually got is all of the equipment that just got merged in, all of your furniture and whatnot. Okay, when we bind it, it becomes a group. It is a model group. So if you don't like it being a model group, you can then just ungroup all of that And when you've ungrouped it and then you've gone through these couple minutes of steps, your two files will once again be one. And like we covered with the first lesson, if you do save options, make this central, you should experience almost no difference. But as I said, the one thing that concerns me is that I had to move some equipment, and you may not want to use those files because I've coursed them. But you can see I'm in here. If I turned everything back on, you would actually find that short of the design options, and that's what I'm running into with the design options, is I don't think it's very friendly with the Revit links. I know it caused the computer to crash out when I tried to do a project north rotate. So I'm still going to investigate that further this week, but you would find that your furniture would be no different than it was on Friday if you just bind and then ungroup it. I don't recommend it, but you can feel free to do it. Good luck. Hope this helps.